Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat. Today is Tuesday, October 1st, 2019. Welcome to October. I can't believe it's actually arrived. We're actually in October already. Oh my goodness. So if you're watching the VOD on YouTube, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you're so inclined, head on over to twitch.tv/OtakuShowboat to leave a follow to be notified when I go live Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to approximately 1 p.m. US Eastern Time. You can follow me on Twitter at OtakuShowboat and visit my website at otakushowboat.com. You can also help support Pyanodon at patreon.com/Pyanodon and myself at patreon.com/OtakuShowboat. Today's question of the day is: are you subscribed on YouTube? Subscribed to me on YouTube. Of course, the reason I ask this, even though I have just stated in my intro script to please be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell, is because only about, let's say, 20%, between 20 and 25% of people who actually watch my content on YouTube are actually subscribed. Yeah, you see, on a lot of really big channels, you sort of have a lot more subscribers than you see views on a video. It would be interesting to see what their ratios are. I'm assuming it stays consistent, that you're always going to get a lot more views than subscribers, but even at, it's less than half. It's like hardly even a quarter. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel and are watching this, please consider subscribing. Please consider just subscribing. Every subscription on YouTube counts towards the 1,000. That is the current goal. Currently sitting at about 620 some odd, 7, I think, 6, 7, 8, I forget exactly. I can look this information up right next to me. 630. Oh, hey, it actually hit 630 now. So that's nice. Still needs to increase significantly. That velocity needs to increase in terms of the subscriber growth. But yeah, the magic 1,000 will mean the ability to do monetization. However, I don't want to depend on any sort of YouTube ad revenue type stuff. I don't want to depend on ad revenue ever. It is incredibly spotty, and I prefer consistency. And let's just say that I have a Patreon, as I have already stated, that directly supports my content production across the board. So yeah, that's the question of the day. Are you subscribed to me on YouTube? If not, you might want to change that. So, the notes for today. I did mention in my announcement video that I posted last week that as of this beginning of this stream, that I would make my final decision as to what will be streamed this coming Thursday. I have, of course, decided that this will be Morrowind. I have made note that there are other things that people have suggested. I have made note of those. Let's see here. So Warhammer 1/2 was suggested in terms of content I've made in the past. Technically, Warhammer 1 counts, but there's not really any point anymore to play Warhammer 1, so may as well just do 2 from here on out. Not very good at, I'm not very good at Warhammer, Total War Warhammer in particular, / Warhammer 2. There are aspects of that game that I don't enjoy as much. There are plenty of aspects that I do really enjoy, but just the, sheer tankiness of units. I think that combat is too long in Warhammer 2. I think, and then I see all these mods that are like, extends the time in combat. I'm like, what? No. It's already too long. Like, what? Why? And then a couple that I haven't played before, one of which I don't even own, were suggested. Oxygen Not Included is one that I own that I haven't made content of, that I haven't even really played at all, which would be an interesting thing to stream as sort of like, let's learn Oxygen Not Included live on stream. And then the other one was RimWorld. RimWorld's been on my wish list for a long time. It's just, like Factorio, RimWorld's another one of those games that's not going to ever go on sale. Therefore, and will only increase in its price, has increased in its price. I think it's like $35 now to buy RimWorld, but it's one of those games that gives you a lot of replayable, enjoyable content for many, many, many hundreds, thousands of hours. Sort of like Factorio, but and it has a huge modding scene like Factorio. So it's been on my radar. It's just finding the spare $35 when all these other games also are coming out that I also want to play. So yeah, it's been on the list, but yeah, I'm not much of a creative designer, shall we say, to really get the most out of something like RimWorld. But that is on the table for at some point. So, Morrowind will be what I play on Thursday. It will be modded, because of course it will be. I will be playing Morrowind using the OpenMW engine, as well as several mods that are for OpenMW / are compatible with OpenMW. I'll have quite a few fixes. I'll have, in particular, the natural character growth mod, which the way that works is that it removes the level up screen entirely from the game, and instead your attributes will be tied to your skill levels, so that as you level up your skills, your attributes will scale up naturally organically with your skill ups, which is a pretty neat concept. It also removes the cap on skills, the level 100 cap. It puts it at like 400 and something, but higher values over 100 will scale up accordingly in terms of the amount of effort that you need to actually level up the skills. It will progressively get harder and harder and harder to level up skills the further you get past 100, which is, again, really, really neat. And I like that concept. I had previously been using the MADD leveler system, but as it turns out, there's a slight issue with it with OpenMW, and I've noticed there's a pretty big exploit that I was able to do with that on a personal playthrough in the past, in regards to the updating of attributes by using a basically you could use like a fortify skill spell and have them actually count towards your attribute growth. It was a little bit powerful of an exploit made available exclusively through that mod. So yeah, we're going with natural character growth that I know is compatible fully with OpenMW. Also things like better bodies, underwear version, better heads, several mesh fixes, UV fixes, the patch for purists, to help fix a lot of like grammatical errors in particular and positioning errors of stuff. The unofficial plugins patched, combined, lots of texture stuff, better textures. The Speechcraft Rebalance mod is another gameplay affecting one. Speed and stamina, just for my own sanity and for your sanity on stream. And Purist Friendly Magicka Regen. Those are the big ones, and then a mod that I've made for myself in, for OpenMW, and that is Better Creeper, as in it is a mod that gives Creeper more gold to barter with. More gold to barter with is the idea there, so that I can sell off expensive items, because that is how I prefer playing Morrowind. I don't like having to do the waiting game dance of buying and selling things to spawn basically enough gold to pay for, or to get paid for really expensive items. And I've also come up with a character with the types of skills that I'm interested in that fit my personal preferred playstyle, generally speaking. So yeah, we will see that on Thursday. Moving on from there in my notes, this weekend, going out to pick up cat food with my mother, we picked up one of these little guys. This little guy. This is a dematting comb. Dematting comb, and each of these is bladed, sharpened, and ever so slightly serrated. Sharpened and ever so slightly serrated, so that you can pick at matting. I didn't quite use it that way. I did end up getting to the root of a lot of Kitty Cole's mats. He's right next to me right now, sleeping, at least trying to sleep while I pet him. Got down right near the skin and started just cutting away, slowly but surely, at a whole lot of his mats. Like, we're talking fur ball size things that are like that big round at a time. Got a couple of those off of his back. In fact, he was nice enough yesterday to allow me to do this. Specifically, he allowed me to do it while he was sitting right here next to me, as well as while sitting on my lap. So he was like on my lap. It must have felt good to him, or at least was a sensation he was okay with, while I was clearing out, cutting away several of his mats. Managed to get the biggest of the mats out from his flanks, the sides of his back. But and one annoying knot that was actually on his chin, under his mouth, on his chin, and some from his chest, but he still got quite a few on his belly. So you can imagine how long that will take before those could potentially be gone. Because even though he quite literally trusts me utterly not to hurt him, just trying to get a cat to A, show you his belly, and B, work with the fur on the belly. Yeah, that's a mission. That's going to be a mission. But I can tell he's feeling better. He's a little bit. He's probably going to be a little bit cold for a little while because that is a big bunch of fur that got cut away yesterday. And I'm going to give him a little bit of time just to heal up any irritation that might have happened from pulling on his skin. It is a good thing that he has lost a lot of weight from his largest size, because that gives some pull on the skin available without hurting him, because the skin is loose right now, which is perfect for helping to cut away matting that's right at the root, basically right up against the skin or close to it, within millimeters from the skin. So that helped, and that was my day yesterday. Was a lot of cutting of mats on the kitty cat, on Kitty Cole. All right, let's actually get something more relevant next. The emote is deleted, the one that had been approved for last stream, and it has been replaced with a better looking one. And what I will do is I will go to game with webcam, and I will enable my display capture so that I can show this info. What did I just do? Get out of there. Thank you. So the emote has changed. Previously it was a black text with a green outline. Now it is a green text with a black outline. Just so that I can show you. So that this is what it looks like on the white background. This is what it looks like on the black background. So it is legible now. It will be actually legible on the black background for Twitch, which yeah. This is Inkscape, by the way, free program, relative equivalent of Illustrator. I always prefer vector programs. I am not an artist. Like, I am not an artist. I don't draw. So while something like GIMP / Photoshop has their place, I spend most of my time in vector programs that actually give me perfectly straight lines and perfect circles. But yeah, you can change what the background color is through document properties, so I can actually see what it looks like on the white and the black background. So that is that. That has been changed. That is pending verification. So yet another verification setup to go through. I will go ahead now and start up the game, while I discuss that chromite sand has been changed yet again from Rich Dust. You can now again get chromite sand from Rich Dust. Hello! Hello, you have basically just missed the entirety of all the, like, pre-stream updates. So, welcome. Welcome to the actual playing of the game. That is about to happen. Just about done with my updates. Mentioned that Kitty Cole got a dematting comb, and that was my day yesterday. Getting lots of fur that was matted off of Kitty. Huh, you just are getting in. All right. Let's see. Any updates here? Nothing relevant that I can do right now. So yeah, chromite sand from rich dust has been added back in. It has been nerfed, though. But still, its existence is pretty awesome. And I definitely want to make use of that. Also, in the code that hasn't been released yet, I did notice that Pyanodon has reduced the amount of collagen in a phosphate rock / phosphoric acid recipe. That will be available a little bit later at Nanotech once I get access to the bioreactors. So, phosphate rock. This recipe right here will be updated. It is changed in the code. It will be 4 collagen and 15, I think is what it said on the phosphoric acid. So cutting down to 4 collagen and 15 on phosphoric acid just to make it a little bit more bearable on if you want to get infinite phosphate rocks, because this is the only way to get an infinite supply of phosphate rocks outside of ancient remains, is through this recipe, and you're limited by the bioreactor on when you can start doing this. And you need a lot of phosphate rocks. You need a lot of phosphoric acid, but you need a lot of phosphate rocks overall. And collagen at the moment is somewhat prohibitive in terms of its overall footprint. You wanted to ask about how to get phosphoric acid and phosphate rocks without ancient remains. Yeah. So, there is a recipe for it, but it needs bioreactors, so you are waiting for nanotechnology, which is purple science, before you can actually do this. So before purple science, you have to mine ancient remains to get phosphate rocks, to make your phosphoric acid. Yeah, crap. Crap is right. That's the only way. At the beginning, anyway. Now, yeah, because you have to actually do the chain. I'm going to eventually make a tutorial about the phosphate processing chain, and as was pointed out by Immortal Sniper, phosphorus pentasulfide. You do sulfur into phosphate rocks, you get pentasulfide and pyrite, and then you do the pyrite plus phosphate rocks into more phosphorus pentasulfide. Yes, that is a feedback. Is that like an important thing to really point out on a video that was about chromium processing? Probably not. Especially since I showed both of them, and I think people can have brains and can figure out, oh hey, you can feed the pyrite out into the other recipe, save yourself overall the number of rocks that you're using to make your phosphorus pentasulfide for your Aerofloat 15. But anyway, that is beside the point. Not to mention that you need pyrite for solar panels. Now, here's the thing. Pyrite is made directly from sulfur and iron oxide. You can just make pyrite, and you can just make iron oxide. I mean, yes, there's iron plates and nitrobenzene, but then there's also coarse fraction into stone, gravel, and iron oxide, and chromite sand, and gravel. This is my preferred method. Sand into iron oxide. It's a percentage-based chance, though. It's a lot of sand. It's a lot of sand. But if you're like me and you're doing collagen at a significant scale and are using this recipe for the gravel output, you're going to end up with a lot of iron oxide and a lot of crushed quartz without even having to turn iron plates into the thingies, into iron oxide. So ultimately, it's like, well, pyrite's pretty free. Pyrite's actually pretty free. Now, off screen, I did a few things. You may notice this right here. I went down and I filled up a car with aluminium tiles, and then put a stack inserter to take it out of the car and put it into a chest so that all of my construction bots have shorter flight times, which is to help them out as they try to place aluminium tile across, like, everything on the ground here. The entirety of this, like, hundreds of thousands of units of aluminium tile ghosts have been placed. So, yeah, that'll help speed things up a little bit, at least until the car empties. Then I'll probably just go get more. But while I was planning on doing that, I noticed that there was a little tiny bit of an issue on tin down at my diodes right here. I had an issue. I didn't have enough tin going into my diodes, and that was very, very constricting my circuit 2 production. This was bottlenecking circuit 2s because of lack of tin in. So now I've gone and I've taken tin and I'm bringing it down, and I'm bringing it all the way down, actually, into solder. Because, you know, those aluminium tiles, they eat up the solder, and they need tin. However, it looks like I need even more tin than what I'm currently producing. Oh yeah, that's right, I'm not even doing molten tin. Oh yeah, I'm not even doing molten tin yet. I need to get around to doing more advanced tin. So that's a thing. Also off screen, what I have done is I have finished the logistics work from last time. So last time I set up some nickel. I set up the buildings for nickel, but I needed to actually, and I like set up all the mushroom plantations for the nickel. Needed to run the belts on the coal to go into my DDC setups. So yeah, now I have tar-based nickel. Once everything is operating fully, it is the equivalent of a yellow belt that is going out, and I just copied and pasted from down here. I just copied this, basically, my current nickel setup. Copied it and put it down there, so it's not high-grade processing yet. I could work on setting it up as high-grade, if I so desired. Last time, by the way, the important aspects are that I got super steel. That is the main thing that happened last time, was the production of super steel, non-zero super steel, as well as starting to get some non-zero Logibot Mark IIs. So upgraded Logibots, currently only limited by my Circuit 2 production, but yeah, that's finally moving again. All 4 of these guys are operational, I think. Yeah, I can barely see the animation moving there. Pipes. Pipes is how I do my molten alloys. Niobium pipes, specifically. I am not trying... Like, I don't have the scale with which to move more... I don't have the need to move more than 1,200 units per second of a molten metal at the moment, so I can use the pipes just fine. Very few things that... there are very few things that have that high of output or an input requirement to justify needing to do barreling. Yes, and part of me using only niobium pipes, I've realized right recently, between videos here, between streams, is that I'm currently backlogged on my need for niobium pipes. Yeah, logistic storage, 0. Negative logistic storage on the niobium pipe. Yeah. I've got niobium plate, though, so this is just a matter of me demanding more than I am producing, which is a pretty easy fix. Niobium pipes are in industry items. There we go. That will help fill up the box. I've definitely got the robots available for it. 12,700 available robots now on the Logibots. My little Guargun setups here are finishing up, fortunately enough. These guys are operational now, for the most part. Waiting on a number of modules, but that's fine. I already have the underground ones being produced elsewhere. The undergrounds are being produced elsewhere. I have 4,800 of them in logistic storage, which I'm assuming is an entire provider chest is full of the underground pipes. No, I've already got a niobium pipe producer building. I've just built a second one, or another one on top of what I already have, because I have a demand for them. They get used as ingredients for some things as well, so I have to make sure that that I have enough. So, excuse me. So today is going to be about working towards purple science. Oh yeah, I apparently have a few AUG paddocks hanging around. How many of these? Oh yeah, fill this, please. I need all of the kick-all, yeah, and all of the moondrops. Like, every building making biotic things probably shouldn't have limits. probably shouldn't limit the biotic stuff. Just like I probably shouldn't be limiting things like the Tholen atmospheric extractors and the plants. Alright, now do I have any solid separators handy? Because that's going to be a thing that I'm going to design off screen probably. Will be a Alright, so right now Immortal Sniper is designing a setup to make tar primarily. I'm assuming it's using like productivity module 3s and all of that good stuff, and speed modules and all of that, and beacons. But in essence, it's iron plates to iron rods to sand extracted stone to tar. That's what it is in essence. And then taking the tailings dust from the recipe that is stone into tar and converting that into iron ore and copper and coal dust. That it's a coal dust recipe that happens to give you iron ore and copper. Now, the copper ore helps with making drilling fluid 1, which helps feed back your iron. Or it helps with offsetting the costs of the iron that you throw at it. So we were like, okay, well, what would this setup look like if trying to have something that is self-sustaining, self-perpetuating? You'd have to kickstart it with a little bit of drill heads just to get it going, but once it's going, it should self-perpetuate. So I was thinking of designing something along those lines without beacons and productivity module 3s. Of course, also making use of the fact that, again, chromium can now be obtained from sand, albeit at very low amounts for the amount of sand used, but that doesn't matter to me. The only thing that a reduced output means to me is just larger scale, which, if I'm comparing scale, it's like drilling fluid 2, sand. Drilling fluid 2 versus a lot of sand. I would take a lot of sand any day over setting up drilling fluid 2 on the chromium for the drill heads. Just any day. Any day I would take that. So, last time I ended off by going through what I need to get purple science. And if I am remembering correctly, I was making nickel so that I could make, ultimately, hydrogen peroxide so I can make lithium peroxide? Something like that. Making a lithium thingy that will feed into one of the things that I need for purple science. Katie is leaving me. So sad. So that's what we will continue doing today. Making the anthraquinone into hydrogen peroxide. Cannot wait until all of this is actually aluminium tile and I'm moving at 210%. Can't wait until I also get circuit 3s so that I can, you know, build EU power armor and EU exoskeletons. That will be handy. That will be incredibly handy. Also, we're consuming a lot more power than previously. after setting all this up to get some glorious nickel plates. 1875, 1225. So not a ton of nickel plates overall at this level of processing. This is just the G4. I have, for my tutorial series, already built out all the way up, like, the full nickel chain. I don't remember it off the top of my head, though. But I could go all the way up to high grade at this point in time, I think, if I so desired. Anyway, so Anthra. Chromium, aromatics, and liquid nitrogen to go into hydrogen peroxide. That's what the nickel is for. Chromium, of course. Of course, chromium. Okay. LN2 is also, like, because it's gasoline. Really want kerogen processing. I can pull up what I'm currently making for gasoline. I should have plenty of excess at the moment to make my liquid nitrogen. Alright, let's start designing. Where am I going to do this is always a good question. Where exactly am I going to do this again? And how are my buddies doing down here? They haven't really fully filled in all of the landfill stuff, it looks like. Not quite yet, anyway. So they're still sort of working on that. Yeah, they can get out to here and they haven't done it yet. Anyhoozle, I will apparently need compressors. I will, of course, I will do this recipe using the light oil. Nextlit, olefins, light oil, and hydrogen. Just because you can convert crude, or you can convert tar to light oil directly, and you can actually turn the tall oil into light, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, you can do tall oil separation to get some light out of it, and it gives you benzene and aromatics, if you so desire. I might just kill it with fire. Hello, kitty. Kitty cat's he's gonna jump. He's gonna jump onto the lap. Here he is. Kitty's arrived. Kitty has arrived. Let's see. Salt plus heavy? No. Oh, right. This exists. I forgot. This exists. So, that makes this trivial. Yeah, that makes this trivial, because you have to do olefins anyway. And if you're going to do olefins anyway, you can do the olefins into the petroleum to get your light oil. And you get a whole bunch of petroleum out of it. And you can get olefins directly from aromatics. And since I'm going to need aromatics as well, at some point along the line. All that helps. And then I have petroleum gas I can do whatever I want with. I actually don't know what I want, what I would want to do with petroleum gas. Like, what could I do? I could make refined syngas with throwing chromium at it. That might not actually be a bad, idea. That might not actually be a bad idea. Of course, you can make sulfur out of petroleum gas. Just the normal recipe to get sulfur, lots of sulfur. I think my sulfur is a little bit light right now, so I might actually do this. Could use it for the MIBC, which would be useful in doing tin, higher levels of tin processing, and titanium. Good old methyl isobutyl carbonyl. You have to throw some copper at it, and some acetone, but acetone is best made through tholins. And if I'm making lots of petroleum by doing this to get the gasoline, then yeah, that would be great. That would be great. So fluid separator. This is olefin plants, of course. Right here, this recipe, olefin plants. So I'm going to need some fluid separators and olefin plants. Auto-saving! And I'm probably going to do this right up in these three, in that corner. Yeah, kitty, you are in a position where my arm is like resting on you. He feels so much better now that I have removed a lot of those knots and mats. He's feeling so much better to pet, let alone, I'm sure, also feeling a lot better just not having that pain. Alright, there we go. But he is a little bit cold, I think. Just a little bit cold. Now, one thing I don't want to do is walk outside of my logistic coverage. That would be a bad idea, because then all my dudes sending me my requests will just find the nearest storage location, fly to that, drop it off, then a new set of robots will come in to deliver the exact same items from the source. Alright, so this is just while those guys are flying. Hydrogen peroxide. This is all for hydrogen peroxide. For lithium peroxide, which is just water plus hydrogen peroxide. For the infused Nexalit cartridges. That is what this is for. Infused Nexalit cartridges. For control units. That is the whole point here, is we are making control units now. And for this, I need infused Nexalit cartridges. I already have some fuel rod production. Could use it at higher scale, but anyway. Nenbit matrix, niobium titanium alloy. I'm uncertain if I have this on my network or not. Probably will have to make it. Nexlet matrix, of course, I will have to make. Epoxy. It will come from the resorcinol recipe, despite it costing collagen. This will mean that I will also need to make resorcinol. Oh yeah, I've already... that's done. Yeah, technically that's done. Technically that's done. Or, I don't really need all that much more. Molten chromium casting, yeah, I'm doing that. Molten titanium, I am not doing that yet. So I need to add plenty of tasks. Of course, this is all leading into purple science. Add to top. But for now, it's... Let's just call it control units. And then what I'm actually working on right now is hydrogen peroxide. So that's what I'm actively working on right now. But I will need resorcinol. I will need epoxy. I'll just say via collagen. And I will need ECH, which is oleochemicals, glycerol, and our good old friend, the hydrogen chloride. Oh god, I really hate hydrogen chloride because of its lamps. But anyway. Yeah, so 10 oleochemicals to 30 glycerol is not the same as the oleochemical recipe that gives you 150 oleo to 100 glycerol. That is not the same. That's another thing that got brought up. It's like, isn't it supposed to be the same? It's not the same. The oleochemical recipe gives you a lot more oleochemicals than the glycerol. I don't know, there might be other steps using the excess oleochemicals. There might be other processes using more of the oleochemicals, but as of right now, going into the Nexlet matrix at least, that is the state of it. So yeah, ECH, that will be coming as well. Minimize that. Should have these by now. Yeah, I've got those, and I've got those. I can clear those out. Head on back up. I can see my wonderful construction bots are doing their job. They are definitely doing their job. Placing down all of these things as well. Granted, every single one of them is currently working. All 2,307 of them are currently working. Just going to allow my nanobots to place some things. Also, I'm going to take a deconstruction planner set to just rocks and things, and do a base sweep again. Add even more tasks to my construction robots on top of the hundreds of thousands of units of aluminium tile that they are currently attempting to place. Okay. I need to give this a think. I have a blueprint already that can be modified. I will need to modify this blueprint. I need basically like a copy of this blueprint. Where are you? Wherefore art thou? You. As the game immediately lags as I try to place this blueprint. So this blueprint. This is refined syngas at 1200-ish units per second. There definitely has to be more efficient ways of doing this, but because this is like Tholen-based organic solvent plus the olefins here going into all of this going into eventually the refined syngas. So we've got syngas, we've got lots of things. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of things here to be concerned about. Uh-oh. Caps. That was so fast, I didn't even get to see it. Yeah, it's huge. So I need to... yeah, WTF. Yeah, I can do this better, but this is like 10 2x2s, and the only way I can even place this is if I cheat a zoom out. I have to like use a console command to zoom out to even place this thing in the first place. It's too huge. Even for my standards, and that's just refined syngas. This is a piece of what would be a base for boron processing. That was the whole point of this, was that this was boron processing. I need to trim out everything, this whole edge here, or I can just do it the easy way. I can save the game as 84, because we're day 84. And I can just load up that save and copy what I need from the actual build and make a completely separate blueprint that way. So you... this just enables the Infinity mod. So later today is the Circuit 1 tutorial, by the way, going live. That was... It's about 48 minutes long, but you'll get the gist of it relatively quickly, less than half that amount of time. I spend additional time in that video showing what the current setup is on my stream save. Just to show how it will change as tech changes. As you start working your way up the tech ladder. But yeah, so it starts off with like a bootstrapped initial setup, and then I show this is what it'll start looking like later on. Anyway, yeah, out here. Yeah, so, this is what I'm working on for boron on my Infinity mode save. I am currently designing the self-sustaining aspect of it for the copper and the drilling fluid and the iron and all of that, and copper processing and all that good stuff to feed this, basically. This is the next step, is the 1170 something odd units of hydrogen chloride that's required when making the boron here at the last step of the boron processing. Refined syngas plus hydrogen chloride. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And when you consider you need even more borax to feed into the actual plate processes as well, and you need drilling fluid 1 for this, and you need drilling fluid 1 for the iron, and you need lubricant for the copper, and you need copper for the drilling fluid 1, and you need chromium for the drill heads. I am very thankful that Pyanodon has returned the ability to make chromium out of sand. Like, I am very grateful, because I would not be particularly happy having to set up, on top of all of this, drilling fluid 2, which would mean mining lead to get silver. AKA more drilling fluid 1. Alright, so I need this. And I can break all of these. Alright, that'll be fine, right? Your power production is gracefully collapsing. Yeah, that happens very easily. Always have to be cautious of potential positive feedback loops that will just run your base into the ground as it slowly but surely dies all the way down to 0 power. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bother trying to kill all of these manually here right now. All these stupid pipe connections on this blueprint. No, instead I'm just going to throw it into the blueprint library, delete it, and then I'll work out on the actual stream save. I would highly recommend to people to have a save with infinity mode on so that you can design and make your own blueprints for things at your current tech level. So build to your current tech level so that you can blueprint, copy, paste into your active save. Because then it just saves a ton of time being able to do the design work with infinite resources, basically. Seeing what works, what doesn't in real time. My suggestion is use solar panels to power your coke production. Basically, use solar panels to power the power. And keep it on a separate power network. Powering power is pretty much the only way to avoid completely the positive feedback loops. Because as long as you have enough solar panels to power your power, you will never face a positive feedback loop that will reduce you to 0 power. Each of these little thingies here on these 2x2 grids that I have, there's power issues right now just because they don't have all of the efficiency modules placed quite yet. I need more efficiency modules, particularly in my electrolyzers here, to reduce the power draw so that the solar panels that are within this system are able to fully power them and fill the accumulators enough so that it lasts through the night. But aside from that, each of these produces like 450-ish megawatts of power in total. About 450-ish megawatts. Oh, there goes the kitty. Off the lap. Thank you kindly for that. And I produce enough coke out of this to fuel the powerhouses straight from mushrooms. So that is a beautiful, glorious little thing. And it's all on separate power grids. Everything internal is on its own power grid. Not a single one of the power poles internally touch the external big electric poles, for the exception of the ones that are, of course, grabbing the power from the combustion turbines. And they very specifically do not connect with what's inside. So, separate power networks, completely. Alright, let's now go in and grab... Wait. You know, I probably have to do this all over again because... I don't think it saves. I need to actually physically save, don't I? I think that I just screwed up a little bit. I didn't name it either. That makes things... Oh, no. There it is. There it is. That's the one. Okay, good. Why does it have... Why does it have standard oil refinery on it? I don't know. Let's see. Where can I place this? Yeah, probably right here. Now, I will go to my map view. And, yeah, just go like that. Just play cleanup on all this extra pipe. Just gotta clean up this extra pipe, and we'll be good to go. Alright, that, as they say, should be that. Now, I do have these two 2x2s to work with. That's olefins. That's actually a lot of olefins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, you know, just casually 928 olefins per second. Pretty reasonable. I don't even know what my, like, target lithium peroxide is going to be quite yet. That's the, my current state of being right now, is I don't even know how much lithium peroxide I'm making. Like, I'm shooting for not zero. That's the goal. Not zero. Looking forward to my emote being approved, by the way, again. Alright, red belts, glorious red belts. Ah, right, I seem to have, removed a little bit more than I needed to. Oops. There we go. You there. Connect. Yeah, olefin plants. Probably not gonna send it that way. Lots of, productivity modules as well here. In use. Likely don't even need this really set up right here. Hello, kitty. Shake, shake, shake all over me. Spraying your water all over me from your maw. Alright, what is the next thing? I will need to convert some of this olefin production into the light oil. So that will be next. Once I start getting this moving, it will be a time to celebrate. What are you even? What are you? Oh, I know what this is venting. This was venting excess ammonia from the other setup. Okay. So, olefins. Ideally, I'll also have an overabundance of the aromatics. Cough, cough. From the overabundance of olefins. I needed what now? It was fluid separators? Yeah, fluid separators. These are small. He says at a 7x7 building. It's like, oh yeah, this is small. It's a 7x7. Small by comparison to the 8x8 olefin plant. And the, yeah, the 8x8 gasifier. It's like, oh yeah, that's noticeably smaller. Bigger than a, Falgi plantation. So, how much, Oh no, that's giving the gasoline, too. So it looks like I need you for the petroleum gas from olefin and CO2. So I need to bear that in mind as well. I need to make some CO2. Slash pipe in some CO2. Could make it locally. Very easily. I've got, you know, space. I've got space for CO2. Plenty of CO2. That is a fair amount in just one solid separator. You. Yay! Yay! Always a relief. Always a relief seeing productivity modules being able to be used. Also, Twitch today, for some reason, is just not including me as a viewer, I think. So that's just lovely. I hate when it does that. I hate when it's inaccurate in its viewer count. It's like, oh yeah, it's like there's one viewer as I see someone typing away. It's like, oh yeah, so what happened to me? It's always counted me in the past. So it's like, oh boy, what's wrong? What is wrong today? Yeah, that's a little bit better. That's 16. Yeah, 16% productivity will get better as I get better productivity modules. Let's see how much light oil I need. How much light oil do I need? Oh, you know, that makes 107 gasoline. For 214 and 142. Let's see what happens when I do that. Yeah, that's, about close enough. Yeah, that'll do. And then the liquid nitrogen is done in like an is done in compressors. Am I even making compressors? Like that is a good question. Am I even doing? Yeah, I should be. This is one of those Pi Fusion Energy buildings that now has Mark 2 through 4. Compressors! Compress! Then how are we doing on the productivity modules? Yeah, they're bringing me... I apparently have 212 in storage, which is fantastic. All of the things using Circuit 2s should be kicking back into a higher gear as my tin production is improved over what it was. It's not absolutely awesome and amazing right now. Will become better with time as I replace traditional mining. Then again, a good third of it isn't even mining right now. Closer to a half of it isn't even mining right now, so yeah, about that. Probably will relocate these on the patch in the interim. Should probably think about doing that. This is, by the way, my second ore patch. Oh, hey, there's uranium. More uranium. My original ore patch is tapped out. Is tapped out. Pretty much. The original setup. There's Molly here? What? I didn't even... What? There's Molly here. Alright, sure. That'll be fun. I don't think I'm going to tap it. Oh, you're tapped out. You're tapped out. You're tapped out. But we're still backed up. Ah, boy. Yeah, so glass is pretty awesome. So let's see here. You bring me those compressors yet? No. They are slowly but surely on their way. Speaking of which, I'm going to need some of you and wood processing units. Come on, bring me these compressors so that I can get some wood processing units going. Is this moving yet? No. Should be soon. I should soon see some non-zero olefins. Ah, that's why they're not moving. No, no flowers yet. They're getting mushrooms, but not yet on the flowers. I've got a whole bunch of dudes flying in. However, for the flowers. Gotta get the, all the belt done. That's where things are choking a little bit here. Everything will be fine. So in case you're wondering how to do aromatics at scale, and how to do olefins in the same vein, at scale, this is how it's done. This is how it's done. Now, could I do this in just the two 2x2s? Yeah, most likely. I could probably fit something like this shifted just shifted over in here with these. Don't know about the olefin plants, but yeah, it would be a little bit interesting, shall we say, on the logistics. I could move this up a little bit to be flush with the Relesia, and I could shift this a little bit to open up a little bit more space. Otherwise, yeah, I could fit this in here if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. Oh, so many mushrooms. Oh, so many mushrooms now. Just to reiterate the awesomeness of loaders plus warehouses. No matter how many you have loaded in, it will always be a balanced output. Like, no matter how it's coming in, being shoved in, it is always going to be a balanced output. So there's no reason to be doing any belt balancing here. Just avoids having to do belt balancers. Let alone the craziness that would be a three-way out. Just any prime number output is a little bit off. It's not ever really going to be all that perfect. But you brought me these. You still haven't brought me these. Like, come on, guys. 2.8. That's a little, I'm getting a little tiny itty bitty bit concerned at this point about that power draw. You there. I need you. I'm gonna just do this manually. Because I need the power draw to be reduced in these guys. I need to make sure that I'm always getting my power from them. Combustion turbine. Yeah, I'm using Mark II combustion turbine. All of these are Mark IIs. Yeah, that's better, but not the best. I still need more. As we get later into the day, it should hit positive, ideally. I also need my efficiency on all of these. Yeah, Mark 1 turbines should always be replaced with Mark 2s. You just have to make sure that you have the space for the Mark 2s. Mark 2s are bigger than Mark 1s, and Mark 3s are bigger than Mark 2s. So, always bear that in mind. I have a separate blueprint with Mark 3s as well in here. The Mark 2s are just flat out an upgrade over the Mark 1s. Like, they're just straight up better. You get more power out for the amount of combustion mixture sent in. because they have different efficiency / max power output. Well, you'll get them once you get Circuit 2s. So however long it'll take you to get your Circuit 2s, that'll be that. Give me wood processing units now. Oh, you meant Mark III. Yeah, like, wait until you see Mark III. So the Mark IIIs are not too particularly bad. They are the Mark IIs plus Circuit 3s plus special small parts. This actually is not particularly bad until you look at what you need for special small parts in Circuit Board 3s. Alright, where are my Rholesia? Come on. Like, really? You still haven't placed all the stuff yet? Ah! I need the thingy! Come on, guys. Come on, construction bots. You can do it. You know you can do it. You. And then... what's the... excuse me, what is the... hydrogen peroxide... ultimately, or the anthraquinone, I should say. Rectisols. I'm not making epoxy yet. I'm not making epoxy quite yet. I am still in the process of making the control units. That's what I'm doing right now, is the control units. But I will be doing the resorcinol collagen recipe ultimately, I think. Yeah, I think I will ultimately do this one. It's 2 per second ultimately on the epoxy versus 4 every 15. Oh boy. Yeah, this is significantly different. I have not looked at the HCl requirements for both chains, however, it's going to need HCl for the epichlorohydrin regardless. And this, so we've got 30 per 4 here, we've got 50 per 6, so already this is a better ratio of ECH to epoxy. On this one. This is already on the ECH load off the hydrogen chloride. This one is less ECH per epoxy than this one. I think. Am I mathing correctly? I might not be mathing correctly, but I do know that bisphenol A is also hydrogen chloride. So at least combined between the ECH and the bisphenol A here, it I think is more HCl than this recipe in total. Just going down these lines. Alright, so this would be... okay, 66 0.67, and then the actual hydrogen peroxide. What filters are you referring to? Like, I don't know what filter you're referring to. There's multiple different things of filter. There is filtration media, there is filter the building. That, like, what filter are you referring to? There's too many options. Filtration media is what you're referring to. Filtration media, glass, activated carbon, pure sand, and gravel in assembling machines. There's only one recipe for filtration media done in assembling machines. So what are you saying about a closed electrolysis loop here? Like, what are you referring to? There's only one way to get activated carbon from this nitrogen, sodium hydroxide, zinc chloride recipe. Zinc chloride is done in chem plants. This is done in HPFs. This is hydrogen chloride. This is zinc. So what step are you referring to about electrolysis in this chain? I do not know what you are referring to with this. So you're... I mean, yeah, that's one thing, but... So, yeah, sodium hydroxide, yeah, I see that. And... for here, and then what are you referring to? The hydrogen chloride here? Yeah, that's... yeah, you get the hydrogen chloride here, but... I mean, that's just obvious. Why... Made to be in a perfect ratio for the sodium hydroxide. I don't care! Why does that matter? Why does that matter? It's so insignificant. That's so insignificant. Of course I'm going to put all of my excess hydrogen or sodium hydroxide on my bus. I mean, that was so long ago. That was so long ago. I am literally making sodium hydroxide in several different ways right now. Like, there's no real point at all. Like, I'm way past that. When I do it at scale, sure, I'll keep that in mind, but that you don't need the sodium hydroxide input because it's a closed loop when you're making the when you're doing electrolysis of the saline water to get the chlorine and the hydrogen for the hydrogen chloride. It gives you enough sodium hydroxide without using productivity modules to feed the whole system, the zinc chloride, when doing this production of the activated carbon. My complaint was that I just needed more filters, not how to make them. And I do need more filters. That is the idea. I do need more filters. But it doesn't matter to me whether or not I need to put more more stuff in it. Like, I'm not even thinking about the inputs and all of that. Anyway, don't forget that you and I are quite different in how we approach things. You approach things for maximum efficiency. I approach things from a slightly different standpoint. I don't care about doing things 100% as efficient as possible, making use of literally all of the things. Alright. distractions. And then the lithium peroxide. Lithium peroxide is in standard chem plants. I should have some of those. Do I? Yes. Lithium peroxide. What is our output here? 120. This was in... what again? Hydrogen peroxide. Filters. I need to get filters. Filters, bring them to me so that I know what the outputs are. So since you're here, you probably know, Immortal Sniper, just how much lithium peroxide is going to be needed. Like, but the... what do you mean by producing gasoline in the process? I don't know what you're... I mean, you get the coke oven gas. Are you referring to doing something with the coke oven gas out of that process? Is there anything... do any of these give... not seeing gasoline on any of this. I'm seeing tall oil in. I mean, that's what I'm looking at. Coke oven gas right here is used to make residual oil, syngas, and outlet gas 1. That is what it's used for. You use it with oil and tar, yeah, but then you're spending... you have everything else that goes with it. And then the distillate method... alright, well, sure. Alright, so the distillates... looking at... stripped. So A, to process your medium into stripped, you need titanium tetrachloride. Just so immediately I'm put off by using titanium tetrachloride on your stripped. And then you can, yes, use the stripped plus tin chromium alloy to make gasoline. And you have to deal with the high distillates, low distillates, and residual on top of all of that. It's not about to happen. Because you're spending titanium. Like, I'm not gonna spend titanium for this. I'm trying to avoid unnecessary use of catalysts, aka unnecessary use of plates. So you've got an alloy and a titanium plate that gets used there. And that alloy, by the way, is the tin chromium alloy, which, A, bases already use an extreme amount of tin. Like, the demand for bases is extreme on tin, so why would I want to use an alloy of tin? Like, I'm not interested in using even more tin on processes that have other ways of doing them without needing that alloy. And then titanium... I have a tutorial where I cover the titanium chain. Like, if you look at the titanium chain, it's the longest... it is the longest ore processing chain. in the game. The longest straight, just simply, like, of the main metal ore types, it's like 24 steps long. And has relatively annoying inputs. So, yeah, it saves... So it will save a footprint on what you're actively making now, but you have to consider the footprint of what goes into those other outside inputs. So if I do have titanium tetrachloride being used for this, you have to consider, well, what's the footprint for titanium tetrachloride as well. So, yeah, and yeah, titanium also has a pretty low output for what you put in. Molybdenum improves with productivity modules, but is ultimately quite bad in the end. Now this is moving, right? Yes, finally. Finally, this is moving, and I've actually got some olefins. So you were saying back here it's like 2.4 to 2.5 for the science, but don't I need, like, lithium peroxide for other things? Or, like, the, Nextlit cartridges. What are the, saturateds used for? Let's see. Oh, that's just CO2 absorbing. Alright. Let's see. So control units outside of production. I will need them for buildings. What about this? The optical parametric oscillator. This one is utility science. So, utility science, well, I'm thinking either way, I'm going to need the control units eventually. So if I can plan ahead a little bit on my production of this lithium peroxide. And what about that other lithium thing? I saw there was another lithium thing here in, yeah, lithium niobate from lithium chloride, which... that's just rare earth stuff and chromite sand. Oh, hey, look, more usage of chromite sand. Yes, go in purple and yellow. Now, when you told me that 2.4, 2.5-ish, was that between both purple and yellow, or was that just purple? Because if it's 2.4 for the purple alone, I will need to build more for the yellow. Let's see, that's 1 cartridge per 2 units total. Alright. So... and can these use productivity? They absolutely can. They absolutely can. So... 4? 4 of these buildings with productivity modules, that'll be enough, right? Approximately. And again, I don't have Mark III productivity. I won't have Mark III productivity until Circuit 3s, and that Want to get my standard gold processing set up at Purple Science to get into Circuit 3s. You use that, you use that. Man, that's convenient that every single one of these steps uses productivity. Let's see. That's a per second on each of those items. So that's for 5. Yeah. That's for 5. I would divide down to 1. Now, let's keep this in mind, okay? I am not going to be targeting 1 per second of space science in the end. I am looking to finish the game. Like, I will be ending the playthrough at non-zero space science. So really even targeting 1 per second on utility is probably going to be a bit much. Like, I'm going to have a quantum computer down making space science, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to throw my hands up and say, we're done. And I'll have rockets launching, sure, but besides that, I'm just looking to get through the science tree and get to the point where we can say that we are done, and then I can, who knows, maybe by that time we'll have it Pi Alien Life. Hopefully I get this done before Pi Alien Life. Doubt it, though, with only 2 streams per week now. But we shall see. We shall see. Now, as for you, of course I do need the liquid nitrogen. I need nitrogen. Oh boy, this is gonna be a setup. Alright, I need more DDCs! Bring me my DDCs, thank you. Good thing I have the filters, too. Ah, this is gonna be more filtration media, isn't it? I have like 3 months, but 2 days a week. Or let's say 6 hours a week. Let's see. Have I talked about hating nitrogen before? I think I may have mentioned how much I dislike nitrogen. I specifically dislike nitrogen on the purest. So I would probably say that I will try to save my filtration media and not process. I mean, I don't bitumen yet. Can I bitumen easily? Yeah, I technically can. Can't I? There is a cold, clean air way. There is a cold air way. Yes, there is a... Well, hello? This is a closed loop. Isn't it? Can you productivity module this? That's biofilm! Yeah, so... On that next step. Purified air. Activated carbon. Activated carbon! Yeah, sure. Nah. Ingredient. Product. What step are you folks referring to? Because cold, clean air. Cold air. You are spending liquid nitrogen to get nitrogen. What do you mean is bugged? What's bugged? From the cold air, what about it is bugged? What about the cold air is bugged? I do not know. What about it is bugged? The what it's used for mod is bugged. Okay. What about it is bugged? Again, same question. What about it is wrong? I can grab an evaporator. I can request evaporators if I'm not currently carrying any. There is a recipe from cold air to something, then nitrogen. Well, okay. If I look at cold air, this is product of, ingredient in. What is this to something, and what building is it supposed to be in? Because the only ingredient that cold air is used for is the one with biofilm into cold clean air that it's picking up here. Cold clean air used for liquid clean air, heavy p-dope silicon, and this nitrogen recipe. Which, yeah, like 4,000 units per second of nitrogen. Or 8,000. That one. Alright, well, A, you're spending activated carbon. Like, okay, well, sure, you're spending activated carbon, and you're spending biofilm. You're spending activated carbon and biofilm. Granted, you're going to be making this stuff anyway for the heavy p-dope silicon going into circuit 3s. And this works down eventually into helium, which is also needed. So you're doing it for the super alloy as well. I mean, again, activated carbon. You're spending a metal here. You're spending a metal with zinc chloride. A metal that needs iron as well. It's like, okay. No, I would rather just take the space, make it out of thin air. Just make the nitrogen out of thin air. It's not that bad. More DDCs. Just use more DDCs. By the way, what are you? Liquid rich. Interesting. But yeah, this is how you primarily get nitrogen. You can get more nitrogen by filtering your purest nitrogen with filtration media. Please tell me. But it's out of thin air, so yeah, speed. Speed, glorious speed. So if I ignore purest nitrogen... boy. 233.3... Wait a minute. I told you to bring me some evaps, right? Yeah. Oh, Pyanodon. Oh, Pyanodon. So do you see my my thoughts here? You can probably see my thoughts here. So thanks to productivity, you can produce more than, like, you can make the 25.2 liquid nitrogen and then turn that 25.2 into a higher value than the input. The module mod just changes how many module slots there are, which, I mean, yeah, sure, but even then, that just changes the scale. That the only thing that Tiersif's module mod does is change the actual number of module slots in the Mark II through 4 buildings. That is all it does. It doesn't touch what can have productivity in it or not. At all. So, this is the current state. These can use productivity modules in the current state. These recipes. So, you can... Here's the alternative argument, okay? You can spend gasoline to make nitrogen. This isn't it looks like it's that type of loop. It looks like it, but it's not because you're spending gasoline. Regardless. You are always spending gasoline for this. And the more nitrogen you want out of this, the more gasoline you have to spend on it. And the bigger the footprint you need for the gasoline to spend on it. So while it's handy, it's still you have to, like, consider what the gain is versus the amount of gasoline that you're spending, and that's actually a pretty big amount of gasoline. That's actually a pretty big amount of gasoline that you have to spend on this. Just even on the vanilla, I think it's 2. Is it 2 module slots on the evaporator at Mark II, or is it just the 1? It might just be the 1. Because vanilla is trash on the module slots. But even so, the ratio is off. You gain a little bit. None. There are none on a Mark II evaporator. by default. Or 1 at Mark 2. What about if you have changed the setting in the settings file? Because that's also a thing now. In case you didn't know, it was King Arthur has added, as part of the vanilla set of mods, the ability to control, basically, how many module slots there are. Or at least is in the works. I've seen that in the code. Updates, anyway. That there's supposed to be, by default, something like this for the base stuff. So, really, the fact that I'm continuing to use TierSif's mod is just because it's simple. But yeah, there is a startup. It should be a startup setting now, or something like that. In mod settings, where's... yeah, change module slot count. Change module slot count right here. I'm in the game, so I can't actually see this dropdown right now. But yeah. Now, I have TierSif's mod. This is TierSif's mod, the module slot overhaul, and I have it set to multiply by tier. And that's all it does to the buildings, is it will take its current tier, multiply the base value by current tier number. So if the base value is 3, at Mark 2 it will have 6. At Mark 3 it will have 9. And of course at Mark 4 it would have 12. And that is not the highest setting for it. No, I can just save the game, go out and look at it, and come back in. You don't even need to restart the game. Just do new game, mod settings, start up, and go down to here. +1, +2, and double are your options. Which, by the way, the double every tier is stronger than the one I have right now at multiply by tier. +1 is add tier. That's the equivalent of add tier on TierSif's mod, on the +1 per level. +2 is somewhere in between. +2 is not as strong as multiply. I would say it is more balanced than multiply by tier. But double each tier is stronger than my current setting. So it is now your choice as to what number of module slots there are on your buildings. By default, it is your choice. All right, let's actually set this up now. I've spent a lot of today talking and discussing things and not really doing too many things. So let's actually do a bunch of things. So now I know that it's like going to be this. This is what the actual output is. This is probably not going to live here, by the way. So 44. Really? That seems really low. All right. These are done in the evaporator. What did I need my evaporator for again? I don't know. What was I grabbing? What was I grabbing again for the, Oh, filters. Filters, right. That's what it was. I remember now. Filters. Excuse me. Please don't block my way. You there. And Aww. Fine. Be that way. You can't use you can't use productivity modules in filters. The actual building itself. Somehow, there is a restriction placed on the actual building itself to not use productivity modules. So yeah, even though vanilla has different module slot settings, it doesn't have the exact module slot setting that I'm currently using, and I think I prefer the method that I'm currently using. So I will still use Tearsif's mod because it has a setting that I am using that is not the same as what is the settings that are available in the vanilla playthrough. So I'm going to keep it like this, sure. Why not? Falls somewhere in between the flat +2 versus the flat doubling. Because doubling each tier would mean that something that starts with 3 would go from 3 to 6 to 12 to 24. With double each tier. Versus the setting that I have now, which would be 3, 6, 9, 12. Alright, so let's see. 44. Okay, that's like a speed module. Yeah, that's like a speed module. So 88. 88. Yeah, 24 would be too much for a thing that starts with 3, right? That's like 4 rows. 4 full rows of module slots at Mark 4. Yeah, it's a little bit much. Things will break that way. I do think that Pyanodon should remove the productivity module from the syngas from coal gas recipes and from the coal gas recipes, because yeah, that is problematic when you have, even at Mark 2 with the 4 module slots, even with Mark 1 modules, that is a loop that can happen there at higher productivity modules. At that number of module slots. It depends. It's like, well, Pyanodon, do you want to balance around all of those module settings that are now available? Probably not. So I guess if you think about even at default what the balance looks like, it all depends on the intention. Because the syngas provides tar that can feed back into more coal gas to help offset the costs, but you end up getting more tar out when you can use productivity modules in that system, and if you are using the higher module slot settings, then you can end up in a situation towards the later game with higher productivity module levels to actually have a loop producing more tar than you use to actually convert to make the coal gas to feed into the syngas. It will be a self-perpetuating loop that you're trying to avoid like the plague in this mod set, but that's only possible when you have additional module slots and you have higher level of productivity modules, slash higher tier of buildings with even more module slots. So it just depends how you want to what you want to balance around. I would say balance around what your intended module slots are, which is base, and think from there, like, do I want to just remove the productivity module from these recipes fully, or leave it as it is and let people have their fun if they're choosing to use more module slots to begin with? So, 88.89. Let's actually continue this here. Oh, that's a few buildings. Yeah, that's 6 resource and alls. And let's actually try to calculate this out here. 88 flat is what I'll end up needing. 16 over 92.8 times 80 flat. 13.79 on the liquid nitrogen. Not too concerned about the chromium in. We'll think about that a little later. Okay, that's one yeah. I think I have enough. Just from one Mark II compressor. I think that'll be enough. And I guess if I don't consider the productivity modules in here, because I think that might change. I think that might change going forward. So just multiply by 10, and that is 100. And 38. So 138 is what I'll target on the nitrogen. Good old 138. I can get rid of that. Yeah, just 4 of these with speed modules should be fine. I will vent the purest nitrogen because I'm not interested in spending my filtration media on that. Let's see here. These are 72. Alright, that'll be 2 each on the pressure pumps. There we go. So Mark II pressure pumps, fortunately, are twice as fast as the previous. And can have modules, but anyway. Let's see. The amount of purest nitrogen from one of these is enough for a singular vent. I think it's going to be a gas vent. Anyway. Similarly here with the oxygen, and that's it. Like, that is nitrogen. Multiply by 4. Or by 3 more, I should say. Oh. I don't have enough. Give me... I perpetually need more gas vents. Like, perpetually in need of gas vents. Alright, let's get all of this. Oh, you are misaligned. Let's not be misaligned, please. And yes, I know I could get significantly more nitrogen if I were to filter my purest nitrogen. But again, I don't want to spend the filters. I think that will be a little bit of a waste on setups like this that are designed to be as self-sufficient as possible. I could use the tailings pond. Aren't I? Yeah, I'm totally carrying around 49 tailings ponds. The only real issue here is A, I would need 2 of them, B, I would need to pipe it. It would all need to be piped. I have spaced this wonderfully, haven't I? Yes, I have. So in case you didn't know, tailings ponds vent gases. Tailings ponds vent gases. And they vent them incredibly quickly. Like, you can throw an entire throughput pipe into a tailings pond and it will void all of it as quickly as you throw it in. So, it's pretty good. So there's my nitrogen. Let's cut and paste a little bit further up. Tileable power setup for hydrogen right here. That's what it is. Tileable hydrogen, is that what we're talking about right now? Tileable hydrogen-based setup? Yeah, I have a few of those placed. I have 6 of those right now. This is what I talked about with having solar panels powering your power on their own independent network. You! I know why that happened. Yep, I know exactly why that happened. That'll fix it. Oh boy, yeah, I need to do that on all 6, don't I? Yep. Pretty sure I have the power access for that. Okay. That would explain a lot, actually. So I'm actually going to build up in here, not down in here. For the most part. Oh gosh. Player inventory full. Oh noes! Uh-oh. Those. That. Alright. We're good. So, how much gasoline? That is the next question here. So we're looking at, 13.8 total for this. 13.8, which is going to be 13.8. Alright. Something tells me that, I went a little overkill. Something tells me that I'm a little overkill. But I have it now. I have the olefins. I have the aromatics. You know, this is 15-ish gasifiers. Yeah, I have the aromatics now. And the olefins now. Oh boy. So yeah, 13. Alright. This will, of course, mean that I need to move you a little bit down. Move you a little bit over. You're probably going to be fed that way. I've gotten these guys. Please tell me I have... I do. Alright, good. Plopped that down. Where's my... you? This will produce a lot more CO2 than I need, even if I do just a basic water recipe. Into organics. CO2. I could do that, but I've never seen the point. Yeah, that'll be fine. Let's see. It'll operate at half speed, so not quite 222. How to CO2 anywhere? Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I think I'll have enough. Even like so. May as well make it tileable. Think about future me. And yeah, that'll give that. Can feed that in. Need a electrolyzer, but that'll be fine. You know what? I'm just gonna freaking... Let's, do I have tanks on me? Any tanks on me? I'm not seeing tanks. Oh boy. Well, that sucks. Because I was like, oh, I can make a tank or two and then vent off the spare. And I think I will do just that. I will make I will get some tanks. Let's go with, oh, I don't know, the big one. We'll do the big one. Ginormo tank. Today. Could do the 3000 Ls. I'm not seeing any... I usually carry around the 3000 Ls, but looks like I'm not at the moment doing that. Get that, get an electrolyzer. I should always have electrolyzers on me. Let's see. What? Wow. I just said I should always have electrolyzers on me, and I don't have any. Okay. So about that. I need an electrolyzer. I need that beautiful hydrogen, just like I need to get the power into this. Yeah. Isn't it pretty? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Oh, also, I could make the Nexalit locally. That is an option, but no, I'm just going to grab this doohickey right here. Stick it over here. And give me Nexalit. Oh boy! You came too late. Hello, Pyanodon. You have arrived. We've been having several interesting discussions that you may want to make note of. Such as... Such interesting discussions as... So, producing liquid nitrogen from nitrogen can use productivity modules that you can feed back into more nitrogen than you started with at the cost of gasoline. At the cost of gasoline. So, not as bad, but still a thing. Remove productivity from liquid nitrogen. Yeah, that's... like, productivity from liquid nitrogen is fine. But you're converting gasoline to nitrogen, Pyanodon. Don't you get it? You're converting gasoline to nitrogen. That's the cost there. There's something similar with syngas, by the way. In the event that someone uses a mod or chooses a startup setting that has higher module slots in buildings, Pyanodon, with the syngas recipes, at higher module slot counts, at higher levels of productivity modules, syngas from oxygen can provide more tar than the tar used to make the coal gas to feed the syngas. But only if you've changed the startup setting for productivity module, for like the module slots in the buildings. So, say for example, we have a gasifier using 4 module slots, using productivity modules 3, you'll end up with more tar, but the question is, are you balancing for vanilla module slots, or are you balancing for people who have increased the number of module slots in their buildings? Because by default, you do not loop. Oh gosh. Thingy's gone off. Thank you, answering machine, so very much. Like, by default, it's not an issue. The tar you get does offset your coal gas expenditure to make syngas, but when it is modded, / when you've done a startup setting to increase the amount, you can also do productivity modules on the coal gas recipe from tar, just by the way. Just like for reference. That is also a thing. I can't have that there. I will put you right there. Do that. Hey, it's petrol. It is petroleum, a beautiful petroleum, and then... we literally had this discussion with, Immortal Sniper in, like, he was here. Immortal Sniper was here. It seems that you may have traded places for reference. Yeah, it looks like Immortal dipped out as soon as you arrived, Pyanodon. So we were having this discussion, and yes, he will be very upset because that being able to do productivity on syngas is really what makes getting power from tar viable versus other methods. Sure, this works. I guess. I forget, does petroleum gas count as a fluid? Or as a gas? Does it get... It does get vented. Awesome. It's confusing because, for reference... petroleum gas does not get burned in a gas vent. That, I noticed that the other day, is, you can't... It doesn't void via gas vents. Yes, it's called petroleum gas, but it's not voiding in gas vents. It counts as a fluid and gets voided in the sinkholes. It gets sinkholed. Alright, I need my electrolyzer now. Let's actually finish setting this something up, at least. How much? Oh, yeah, like non-existent amounts. Okay. Water electrolysis. Let's do this. Let's see, do I go ahead and just pipe my oxygen all the way up? I think I'm gonna pipe my oxygen all the way up. Come on. Right there. There. Whoops. That's not the right thing. There. He didn't delete all the messages, it's that he got purged because there were symbols. Too many symbols. The Streamlabs auto mod is very aggressive in how it handles symbols. How it handles symbols and spam and all that good stuff. So yeah, all the messages, 68 messages are deleted. Sorry. And I don't have it set. Actually, I think I can change it to be something else here. That is not what I wanted. Thanks. Anyway. Let's see. Power. Yeah, that would be nice. Power. Here we go. I've got gasoline. Well, it's just, I'm getting to that point in the playthrough where not many people get to this point. And I've always pointed out things that need to be changed. And everyone, it seems like a lot of people who've made it to this point have, like, been sealed. Lips are sealed on everything that they find that makes their life easier at this stage of the game. Yes, kitty? Kitty's looking at me, wants to go on my lap again. Yeah, it's not me that's making the changes, but it's me that's pointing them out. By the way, the cat has arrived on my lap again. cat has arrived. So let's see. There's the gasoline. I need to take my gasoline. Yes, I'm pointing out flaws and imbalances, and those who have gotten here, A, haven't recorded getting here, and B, would rather prefer having everything as is, shall we say? They're like, oh, this is a great thing. Let's not say anything about it and exploit the hell out of it. Yes, kitty? You're meowing now? What's the matter? What's the matter? Don't make a mess on my shorts, please. That would be not ideal. More water. More water. Well, you've brought it back, right? Yeah, it's nerfed, but scale outdoes nerf. I will build at scale. Why am I setting this up here? Didn't I just say that this was going to be not here? Like, I said I was going to do this up here. This is up here. Grab my water. Yes, I saw the complaints on the forum. Not completely unfounded complaints, mind you. I do agree that chromium should have a small amount in the starting zone. And there are things in the starting zone that I think probably shouldn't be in the starting zone. For reference. Yeah, that can hide right there. Things like... the phosphate rocks. Phosphate rocks, at least with RSO, spawn in the starting zone. When they are pretty much exclusively a post-green science item. So... I've already mined out the phosphate rocks that were... Or no, in fact, they're right here. So the starting zone phosphate rocks, when using RSO, they exist here, right here. You start with them. You don't need to start with them. It is pointless that you start with them. Rare earth is in the starting zone. It is pointless that you start with rare earth in the starting zone. Rare earth is exclusively a Circuit 2 and beyond thing. Similarly, let's see here. Someone was saying that they should add tar to the starting zone. I'm like, no? You have crude oil in your starting zone. You do start with a salt rock. There is good reason to start with a salt rock. There is good reason to start with a salt rock because you can mine the salt when you get your red science going, and you can use that to make saline water to build your circuits. Because you need saline water to get the sodium hydroxide to get the fiberboard for your PCB1s, or, well, for your Formica for your PCB1s, for your circuit ones. I literally just did the tutorial yesterday, so that's sort of on my mind. Circuit 1 tutorial goes live later today, by the way. Yeah, that's a thing that is going live, Circuit 1s. So salt is reasonable to exist. Although you can get, and what I suggest, just turn stone into saline water. Just turn stone into saline water, and you can get your sodium hydroxide that way. Salt is available if you want to use the salt. Otherwise, I consider it fairly optional. But it's okay that it's here. But RSO has a setting as to whether or not you want crude oil in your starting zone. I don't think I started with tar. I didn't start with tar in my starting zone. I would know because it would be tapped right now or something. It would be around. I didn't deplete it. So starting zone doesn't have tar. Starting zone has phosphate rocks and rare earth when it doesn't need to. And it doesn't have chromium. And it doesn't have chromium, which chromium needed to build the heavy oil refinery for the rubber for the green science. But phosphates and rare earth exclusively come after green science. So I would swap them out, the phosphates and the rare earth, with like a small chromium patch about the same size as the titanium. And that should alleviate a lot of concerns. Because, yeah, on the map that I generated for the early game part of the tutorial series, my chromium from my start location, I found 2 patches of chromium. They were about that far away from my starting zone. Like, as far as this raw borax is from my starting zone, actually maybe a little bit further. I think it's actually like about from where this quartz is. That's about the distance away that it was from the start zone for the closest chromium. So yeah, that's a walk. It is a hike. Oh, poor baby. My poor kitty's having issues right now on my lap as well, so that's sad. At least you don't have as many mats in your fur after I cut them out yesterday. Most of them. Let's finish this. About 15 minutes left. Let's see. You do that. Need the gasoline in. Go and run that gasoline up. How do I want to run this up? Well, that's fine. That's a good thing. I should be talking. Always should talk more. It makes the experience last longer. Because as I said, as soon as I get to like quantum computing and start doing space science, I'll consider this done. Like, I will consider this complete when I see non-zero space science from quantum computing, because that's like the furthest you can get, right? That's how far it goes in the Pi Suite. Really? Like, launching the rocket's one thing, but actually doing the glorious stuff is another. Do I want that spacing? I need 6 of these. Alright. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 of these, making anthraquinone. Going into 1 of these. Oh, and Pyanodon, I did see your sneaky edit on that phosphate rock recipe. I am very thankful for it. Please push that. Sooner rather than later, that would be great. That would be great. It's not immediately, required, but, it's coming. Yeah, kitty, are you gonna go? Are you gonna leave me? Are you gonna leave me? I see you looking down. Are you gonna leave me? I mean, collagen is just, it's still expensive, right? Am I even going in the correct direction? I don't know. So I have to get my plates from here to, here. There was apparently a niobium pipe in the way. Oh yeah, you may see a Mark II Logibot, by the way, Pyanodon, flying by as I get into the main part of the base. You may see 1 or 2 of those. I mentioned last time that, you know, they don't actually look as cool as the construction bot Mark II. Now, why is that? These guys look like literal floating boxes, floating tan boxes. The other guys are like really cool chrome plated robots. I mean, just by comparison to the other Mark II bot, it's a little bit boring, really. Just by comparison, I think it does look better than the Mark I bot, and definitely the Mark IIIs look amazing. It's just that Mark II Logibot is significantly different than its counterpart. Like, I've seen the Mark IIIs already, but I hadn't really seen that Mark II bot. And it's like, oh, it's a tan box. It's a tan box versus chrome versus glorious chrome. So yeah, olefins from aromatics. Yeah, it's a thing. Let's see here. It's just power, right? Oh, chromium. Right! Right. Chromium. 3.2, okay. Guess that's gonna be something that, for now, I request, but I won't forever. Well, A. Ahem. Exhibit A. Pyanodon. 182 and 54. It's not quite 54 to feed this, but whatever. Like, Like, and that's feeding 15 aromatics. This is 900, like, it's just shy of 1,000 aromatics per second on the output. And it's like, Exhibit A, we're thinking at scale here. And it goes into 928 on the olefins, using Tiersif's module slot expansion to get up to 4. Also, like, this is more than at Mark II of base, so without this many module slots, it would be more buildings in the end. Like, this even looks this small because I have more module slots. And I'm saving myself some time than anything else. Alright, this guy needs to be 1 lower. And it needs to bring in chromium. Guess what I'm going to do for chromium? Oh, it's actually in coal processing. Cool. I'm not going to do it now, though, but I will eventually get around to it. If you said chromium from sand, you would be right. Because I really don't care how much it's been nerfed. I'm going to make the bold statement that despite the nerf on the chromite sand, that it's still less of a headache than building the drilling fluid 2 to ground bore it. No, I can't make blue belts now. Blue belts are still super alloy, yes? I'm not making the super alloy. Unless it's not... Yeah, yeah, it's super alloy for blue belts. That I don't have yet. I have super steel. I have super steel, I don't have super alloy. So I can't do blue belts quite yet. Yes, and needs helium. Helium is easy enough. Yeah, power this. I'm more concerned about the thingy here getting fed. It's like, oh, let's make sure that I have my anthraquinone. Going into this guy. Has its nickel, which is good. Just waiting on the robots here. Do I have a solid separator handy? Probably not. All these various buildings. It's amazing that I even remember a number of the recipes. And what building a number of the recipes are in. Like, I don't know a lot, but I know a lot more than I'm sure most people know. Then you can get cut. Really? But I want all these things. Like, I want all these things. Alright, I don't need that. Nor that. Nor those, I guess, for now. Oh, boy. Just going through, seeing where I can get additional inventory slots, because it's like, I want all the things! I want all the things! I need all the things! I guess I can get rid of that. Oh, I can make substations now. That is what I can do now. I can't get bigger bags until Purple Science. I think, at least Purple Science. Where is the next tool bag upgrade? Tool belt. Oh, there is no other upgrades. Modular armor will be at circuit 3s. Or should I say the Mark II modular armor, or whatever it is, the This guy, power armor. Yeah, power armor. Mark II, and then the one after will be at Circuit 3s. Circuit 3s for power armor. And then exoskeleton, also Circuit 3s. So, yeah, it really forces you back versus vanilla. It's like, oh, I've had this recipe unlocked for ages. I can't do anything with it until I have Circuit 3s. Which is effectively locked to Purple Science. Effectively locked. Oh yeah, I have to route the thingy here too. Needs this stuff. There we go. Now we're cooking with literal gas. Now we're cooking with gas. Literally. Alright, so there's hydrogen peroxide. Let's get this down. I think I'll do this aligned here. Grab that. Add even more water into the mix, and power, power, power. Into a box. Non-zero on the lithium peroxide. We did it! Within this stream, lithium peroxide has been done for the control units. That will be the next thing, is control units. These are standard assembling machines. Yes, they are. Actually, next is infused Nextlit cartridges. That's technically next. May as well make them here. Infused Nextlit cartridges. What is that under? Right there. Good. Just about to say. Of course they would. Of course they would do that. Power and done. Done. There's Nextlit infused cartridges. Like, okay, and then what about the actual control units? What tab are those under? Right there. Right, Nextlit, or the Nen-bit matrix would be the big thing. Oh god, that's a lot of circuit 2s. Oh, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. Nen-bit matrix. U. Nextlit matrix. Not in U. Nextlit matrix. Nanomaterial. Alright, that's gonna be a request. I need to request those. Thanks. And unfortunately, that is the end. That is the time for the stream for today. All of the time for the stream for today. As I stated at the beginning of today, on Thursday, I will be playing Morrowind. I will be playing Morrowind on Thursday and every Thursday hereafter until it's finished. Preempted only by Pokemon Sword and Shield when that comes out in November. Also preempted by Thanksgiving on November 28th in the US. Because that's another thing that is going to be coming up on a Thursday. I don't know. I haven't quite decided whether or not I'm just going to preempt every stream to go through Sword and Shield when that releases. Just have the week of just streaming that. Probably going to be the case, but yeah, so we will be back with more of the Factorio stuff on Sunday. Off stream, I will be doing some design work of things that already exist in the base. That is what I have said I would do off stream, is design better methods of doing things that I'm currently doing already, and designing things that are more easily able to scale than what I currently have for many things across the board. So that's what I will be working on, essentially. What got done today? Infused Nexalit cartridges. Yeah, that happened today. Non-zero. And non-zero lithium peroxide. That's what happened today. From hydrogen peroxide production. Like, all of that time was to just grab this blueprint, place it down, have it build up, and place down some nitrogen, liquid nitrogen, some gasoline from olefins into petroleum, storing excess petroleum. So, yep, that's what got done. Just this guy trying to get these, but also need these, which also needs nanomaterial factories. So, gonna need some Nexalit. Quite a bit of Nexalit going into this. But that'll be control units, and then we can work on our nuclear samples, as well as the advanced coding. And then that's purple science. That's it on the purple science. Like, it's not quite as bad as it might at first appear. Most things aren't in Pyanodon's mods. But, yeah, it's like, well, if you look at the entire chain, sure, but if you look at only what you need to do next, it's less of a hassle. So, purple science is coming. Then we get to work on things that purple science unlocks. Yay. So again, I would like to thank you all for watching. If you are watching the VOD on YouTube, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you are so inclined, head on over to twitch.tv/Otaku Show to leave a follow to be notified when I go live, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, from 10 a.m. to approximately 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. You can follow me on Twitter at Otaku Showboat and visit my website at otakushowboat.com. You can also help to support my continued existence by becoming a patron on Patreon at patreon.com/otakushowboat. You can also help to support continued mod development at patreon.com/Pyanodon. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, which is, are you a YouTube subscriber for me on my channel? Only about a quarter of people or less are actually subscribed to my YouTube channel who watch my videos. Maybe you should consider subscribing. That would be ideal. Trying to get up to like that 1,000 mark, that, you know, very key 1,000 number. Yeah, that would be great. Later today will be the tutorial for the Circuit 1s for Pyanodons, and of course, as I said, on Thursday I will be streaming some Morrowind, so look forward to that. And I hope to see you all on this next one.